It's 31st of May 24. It's Friday, and I'm talking about the UK election. I've got the mic to the left of me, sort of. See how that goes. Probably as bad as usual. But I'm just looking at the election. So far, nothing's changed in the sort of polling. Labour are 45%. Tories are down by anything from 20% to 28%. There was that one poll where the Labour were 40 and Tories were 28. Personally, I think the Labour vote's really soft because I just can't see how anyone would vote for them, especially native Brits. My message to you is abandon the left, apart from the Social Democrat Party. Abandon the rest of the left because uh, female GM is now a British tradition over the last 75 years. And that's feminism for you in Britain. So, for reasons like that, I think you need to start voting Tory or further right as a protest vote. Use it as a protest vote, single issue. It's not about health, economy, and stuff anymore. It's about, do you want anarchy or not? And if you, at the moment, all parties really are voting for anarchy. It's just a case of how soon. The left want it much sooner, especially the Greens, then the SNP, and then Labour. They're both neck and neck, Labour and SNP, for anarchy. And Lib Dems are there as well. So take a look at Social Democrat Party for their view on. I mean, it's still not good enough. I think we need a full stop now. Yeah, a full pause, like they did in America from 1925 to 1965. I don't know why Americans felt so strongly about it. For that first get mentioned, because at that time, all the immigration was from Europe, basically. At first, it was West Europe, Sweden. I mean, I've seen something that said Germany, Norway, Britain, and Ireland or something, or Britain. But for some reason, the Americans didn't want it around about 1915 or whatever. And I think perhaps after the Civil War, they opened up to East Europe and South Europe. And I don't think Americans liked that. But it went from 1925 to 1965. There was a real pause. Then Kennedy planned to bring in, I think, of course, they get killed. And then Johnson brought it in. And someone said that they were expecting them to come from Europe. But I don't know if that's true or not. But most of them after that came from Mexico. And now it's all the global south, as Hamza Yusuf calls it. And the second world, I suppose, as well. So all the West is going to be majority global south and second world. Unlike their homelands, beautiful warm homelands, where everyone looks like them and there may be 2 or 3 tribes that dislike each other. In the West, we've got the whole lot. We've got 200 tribes. I mean, there was something in Sheffield the other day. It looks like it was Eritrean British and Ethiopian British fighting each other in the streets with machetes. Some guy was lying on the ground getting macheted in Sheffield. I didn't even see anything about it in the Daily Mail, my favourite paper. And this is the sort of thing. And then 2 days ago, we had a drive-by shooting outside a Turkish restaurant in East London. EastEnders is the only programme on the BBC that's biased towards natives, really, because really there should be probably 1/5 of it should be natives or Cockneys, if you want to call them, in that show. The rest should be, from the global south, British. It's the only programme that's biased the wrong way around. So, yeah, we had the Turkish shooting, apparently, and apparently it's one guy that gets shot. He got jailed a few years ago for acid attacking men in the street. I saw a video of it, I think, and it didn't look as if there was any Cockneys involved. Any of the old Cockneys, anyway. It's all new Cockneys. It looked like, some a scene that you wouldn't see anywhere else now, basically, because you've not got that mix. Um, yeah, so that's the future for, well, it's London's present, really. We're all going that way. But you need to vote, a protest vote. You need to use the election as a single issue. Forget economy and NHS and all that. The things don't matter if you're heading for anarchy. Because this is a new experiment. Humans have evolved over, 350,000 years, and Britain's gone through this experiment over the last 75 years, especially the last 30 and especially the last 10. The sort of trajectories went sky high. So, yeah, we're totally finished. The natives are going to be a minority. So Agnes and Jerry and Easter Hiss, you need to stop voting SNP or Labour. You need to start voting Tory or for the right, preferably for the right. But yeah, even Reform aren't good enough on this, but it's a start. Yes, that drive-by shooting the Turkish, 3 adults and a child were shot outside a Turkish restaurant in East London. So this is the way we're going, basically. We're getting all these, we had the Ethiopian Eritrean thing, and then we had the Iranian thing earlier on. It was pro-government and anti-government, because apparently we've allowed pro-government ones in, and they've got their sort of centre down in London where they go, and I think they were going to talk about respecting the recent president who got killed in a helicopter crash. We don't know how yet, but anyway, yeah. And today in Germany there was a YouTube live stream. There was some guy doing anti-is in the street. He's well known for it over in Germany in Mannheim, and he had a YouTube thing. But someone of the M religion went berserk with a knife, strong knife, and he knifed him, and then he knifed a policeman as well, who was, instead of, they were holding the guy down, and instead of that, the policeman got the guy holding him down and went on top of him. And so the guy came from behind, got up, came from behind him and stabbed him in the neck. Apparently he's fighting for his life now. And the irony is, a woman policeman who came up had the other guy in the handcuff position while he was lying down there. It was just bizarre, even though he was the one that got attacked. And some cop shot the guy, and well done to him, because he looked as if he was of the same religion. So well done to him. There was about 10 cops there, and he was the one to act, but his policeman gets stabbed 2 times near the spine. He looked as if he was alright at the time, but you can never tell with knife wounds, because they might hit a vein or an artery. You can have bleeding. I mean, if it hits a main artery, you might only have 30 seconds or something, but if it hits really, it can do any damage. It was a really sharp blade, quite a big one. The guy was killed, so he doesn't need to go you don't need to go through a trial where he would have got his name blanked out. Well, his first name would have get said, but apparently they just give the initial of their second name in Germany to protect the criminals, criminal rights and that. Yeah, so we're totally doomed. And Lee Anderson today, he done a good tweet, I'll call it in a moment. What else would you call it? A good ex-post. And he said this election is the battle of Britain, the battle for Britain. And he wasn't meaning, he said there's a lot of reform doing, but it's really about one thing. It's about Emmy, and it's the battle for Britain. He's absolutely right, although it's actually too late, because you should judge it by, say, primary school classes rather than the nation as a whole, because there's a lot of 80-year-olds and 70-year-olds, and you should be looking at people under 30, the percents there. Ultimately, some years is gone now, really. Well, it's a minority, really. So, and really, the people that came didn't want to stay in their own homelands where everyone looks like them. Politicians, neighbours, even beautiful warm countries. They don't want to go to any other countries where the people of sea. They don't seem to want to go to any of their countries either. So that's pretty racist in these two terms. And then the countries they want to come to, like Afghans, they want to come to ultra calf Britain. You couldn't get more against their beliefs, and that's where they want to come, or USA. Like I say, that time the Americans bombed somebody's house, and when they were doing that in retaliation for being bombed at Kabul airport, when they were withdrawing, uh, the notion is they got the wrong house. Whether they did or not, I don't know, but the family said as compensation, we'll accept American citizenship or of any Western country. So yeah, we're totally finished. As I say, in Germany, they need to start voting AfD. I see PVV in Holland are doing really well. They're increasing their vote. They're up to about 31% at the moment in the polls. Um, yeah, so I agree with Lee Anderson. It is the battle for Britain, really. Although it's actually too late. But it's a good start because, first of all, you need a stop. But really now, we're either heading for anarchy or you'll need to reverse the situation. Basically, that's the two choices. Heading for anarchy or you need to reverse. Stop's not enough anymore. And I say reverse, we're talking about beautiful warm countries. We're not talking about people going to jail or anything. We're talking about beautiful warm countries where everyone looks the same, where these places haven't been changed over the last 75 years by long distance unnatural multi. They've evolved naturally. Um, although Pakistan did just remove 1.5 million Afghans back to Afghanistan. Some had been there since the 80s, and no one in the West seems bothered. Not even the Afghan British or the Pakistani British. Nobody seems bothered at all. So I'll just take a look at my Twitter feed, as I'll call it, for just now. I'm just looking at one. Ethnic clashes in Spain with knives and sticks between fake Moroccan and Algerian asylum seekers in Palma de Mallorca. Is diversity our strength? I'll look at that more. Man accused of raping another man in Oxford. Podgahan Komusi appeared on Tuesday, charged with one count of rape. So they're calling him an Oxford man. Well, no, they didn't. They probably did. Yeah. Illegal boat migrant predator who had only been in the country 2 months and was living at the Cedar Courthouse Hotel in Wakefield at the taxpayer's expense after illegally arriving in England via dinghy, grinned as he strangled and attempted to rape a woman in a nightclub toilet in Antiloke in Wakefield. He tried to rape a woman and sexually assaulted a man. This is what somebody's saying. He targeted the women in the female toilets inside the Truth nightclub. So, just more stories. Let's see what else we've got here. Yeah, Nigel Farage was on Peston the other night, and I don't know why they go on these shows, but anyway, that Peston was trying to get him to back down, and somebody's saying, and he's not backing down, so that's good. So Richard Tice has told him not to back down, and really all you can do is vote reform at this election, in my opinion, especially feminists and people who want stability. that sort of thing. Because if you're voting for Greens or Labour or SNP, you're voting for anarchy, basically. And the likes of Nicola Sturgeon won't like the way Scotland's going to go. So, let's see what else. Yeah. Yeah, and there's some sort of election going on in Ireland in a month or two. I don't know. I think it's council elections, but also the EU elections are coming in, and they're saying that they're expecting the far right to do well, as they call them, far right. They're expecting them to do well. I think it's the European Christian Party or something, which isn't really that far right, I don't think, but far right's the ID party. But this is who you should be voting for if you're a feminist, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah, so Ireland's totally gone now, by the way. I think it's about 20% foreign born or something. I mean, it's totally gone in probably the last 10 years, but the 20 years, I think they opened up around about 1995, really. And Sinn Féin's the worst for it. I'm wondering where that knife attacker in Germany, I mean, I wonder if he's actually a seeker or if he's already German. He's wearing some sort of green top. I'm wondering if that's Tunisia's football top, or it could be just to do with their religion, because that's a colour for a lot of them. Yeah. Yeah, there's a sort of big march tomorrow in London by Tommy R. I fully support what they do and all that, but there's just a sad thing about the march is that it sort of turns out like a sort of a football yob crowd. That's what it turns out. I wish they would, he's told them to behave, so just keep it civilised, don't do anything. It's just a pity, because I think somebody was saying there might be 100,000 there. I mean, I doubt that, but I think it's going to be pretty big. When is it? I think it's tomorrow. Yeah, Tommy's saying, please come to London with the right attitude. Your country needs you. And Maya Tusi is saying yes. Yeah, I see Maya Tusi's on the Reform press conferences, which is great. I recommend his channel. I don't totally agree with him, but generally I do. I'm happy for him to speak for me. Same as Rafi Heidel Manku on the New Culture Forum. Yeah. And yeah. So I'm hoping in a way Nigel and that's been allowed to speak for Reform. This is sort of, we're opening up how the way it's going to go. And we can be more open about it. Because I think the natives, they're just waiting to vote. They're very anxious about it, and they don't think it's going to work, which I don't think anybody thinks it's going to work. Yeah, there was those Bulgarian British that I think they might have defrauded about 200 million in benefits, something, while they ran some sort of ethnic food shop in London. I mean, them alone have probably, how many more are doing that sort of thing? I mean, them alone must be like a big chunk of the fraud, I mean, that's systemic. I don't know. And I think they only get about 5 years each or something like that. And then once they're out, I'm guessing, because they're British now, that's them, they're just back to their house in Britain or whatever. And here's Tommy saying a message again. Make sure you control the lads with you. Every group has a live wire. Don't let yourselves down. Tomorrow is just a start. Yeah, that would be my message. behave, basically, you know, because the ordinary natives are wanting to vote this way. So you've got to, please come to London with the right attitude. Yeah. So Nigel Farage just saying nobody voted for mass migration. Nobody got a say in it. Cultural enricher. London is a diverse cesspit. Yeah, I'm just laughing here. The Irish Examiner, which will be one of the legacy media things over in Ireland, and don't vote for far-right candidates in upcoming elections. Integration Minister urges. I mean, the Irish government and Sinn Féin and the other Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil, they're all totally deluded and totally out of touch with their electorate. But if the electorate don't change their vote pattern, you just get the same again. So over there, you've got to vote for Herman Kelly's party or independents like Niall McConnell, who's good on YouTube. You should watch him. Yeah. Yeah, just looking at Twitter. Matt Goodwin saying this on Twitter. Diane Abbott said, the J word don't experience racism. Chairman Mao did more good than harm. Blonde, blue-eyed Finnish girls were unsuitable as nurses because they never met a black person. And white people love playing divide and rule, and yet still they defend her. It's not a case of divide and rule, it's a case of it's better we all stick to our own, really. And I wish the best for his consonants. I want Lagos to be as desirable as London is to people from Africa and Asia, or even Britain. Why don't Corbynistas find Lagos a desirable place to live? You never hear of a Corbynista moving to Africa or Asia or the Middle East. They'll move to America and Australia because they've got an image of that, which is R word, which they're being the R word. Here's something else. Steve Laws has wrote this. Reformer right about the delivery drivers being foreign. Some even hop off a dinghy and straight on to delivering takeaways. See video below. It's all well good and banning some. Reform need to be calling for their deportation. Anything less is unacceptable. Yeah, and that video he's showing you, the guy's got one of those delivery things in his bag or whatever. First he's on a dinghy and then he's on the delivery thing. And he's got glorious music playing, as if that's a magnificent success, it's just daft. I don't know. I mean, that's... let's see. I'll just keep looking at Twitter just now. I can't really see. Leo Kersad's always good to read. He's generally spot on, apart from Israel Palestine. But on MA, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's all I'll have to say. Yeah, that's the 31st of May. I'll leave it at that then. Cheerio.